Good evening, everyone. I made it by the 5 o'clock. Sorry, I had a last-minute phone call. It is so good to see all of you here tonight. I know in the middle of summer, there's probably many other things you'd like to be doing, although standing in the heat is not one of them, I'm hoping, as it is miserable heat-wise out there. But you think? But it is good to see all of you tonight. Thank you for always making St. Lucie Public Schools your priority. We appreciate that so much. If you would stand with me, please, for the pledge and the Kids at Hope. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And our treasure hunter pledge. As an adult and a treasure hunter, I am committed to search for all the talent, skills, and intelligence that exist in all children and youth. I believe all children are capable of success, no exceptions. Thank you. You may be seated. Mr. Superintendent, at this time, we will turn it over to you for the special orders of business.
Good afternoon. The first presentation we have is not as much for the board, it is for the public. Last week, assessment scores were released by the state for all districts. Some of the information that Dr. Ocampo is going to be coming up to share was shared previously at our board workshop on June 18th. But as a public meeting, I wanted the public to know the good news of St. Lucie County Public Schools and how well we performed on the most recent progress monitoring assessments. So I'm going to bring up our esteemed Executive Director of Assessment and Accountability, Dr. Adrian Ocampo.
Thank you for that welcome, Dr. Prince. I appreciate it. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, board members, and once again, Superintendent Prince. This afternoon's presentation will focus on the superintendent's performance goals for the 23-24 school year. It's a review, once again, of the content that Dr. Prince shared at the June 18th board workshop. So there are 4 goals. Number 1, to improve the average daily attendance rate. Number 2, to improve math performance in grades 3 through 10. Goal 3, to improve ELA performance in grades 3 through 10. And number 4, to create and implement the 5-year strategic plan. For our first goal, attendance, we will see that we have had district-wide success. So in a 1-year comparison, we increased our average daily attendance by 2%. The 2% average daily increase equates to 900 more students attending school per day compared to the previous year. So we're going to go ahead and put a check next to goal 1 to improve the average daily attendance rate. Dr. Prince's second goal was math achievement. So in this slide, we see a comparison of St. Lucie Public Schools to the state of Florida. The grade level is shown in the first column. The next 2 columns are our math scores in 2023 and 2024. By placing a plus or minus, we indicate the amount of change over time. If we do the same analysis for the state of Florida, we can then compare each grade level and indicate where we were exceeding the state by placing a check mark. Finally, we can compare the overall pluses or minuses. So there we can see in the green that we have had a 9-point increase over the previous year. So now let's look at algebra and geometry performance. So keep in mind that these math subjects are not grade level specific. And we have all of our highest performing math students taking algebra and geometry at the middle school level. In doing the same plus or minus comparison, we see that we have an increase in algebra, but a slight decline overall when compared to the state. Most importantly, though, and something that we have to remember, the increase in algebra is significant because the algebra test is a graduation requirement. So we're going to go ahead and put a check next to goal 2. So this third goal was English language arts achievement. So once again, we're going to compare St. Lucie Public Schools to the entire state of Florida, but this time with ELA. We see the grade level in the first column, SLPS in 23 and 24, and then the plus or minus that indicates the number of change over time. If we do the same analysis that we did before for the state of Florida, we can see that the grade levels that we exceeded the state indicated by the blue checks, and there are 4 of them there, or we can see the ones that have stayed the same by the yellow check. Finally, we can compare the overall pluses or minuses. You can see there that we have had 24 points compared to last year, an increase of 24 points compared to last year. So we're going to go ahead and put a check next to goal 3. So this shows that we've had areas of growth across all tested subjects. Now, going beyond our specific math and ELA goals, let's review our district social studies and science scores. So on this slide, we see all the assessed subject areas adding science and social studies on the right side. In science, we gained 12 points when adding the 3 science tests. You can see 5th grade science, 8th grade science, and biology there. In social studies, we are plus 3 points when adding point growth for civics and U.S. history. We can account for all of the pluses in green and minuses in red to create an accountable scorecard for St. Lucie Public Schools and the state. As you can see, when combining the proficiency outcomes from all of the assessed subject rates, St. Lucie Public Schools outpaced the state of Florida 46 points to 30. Put a star on top of that 46. So this is another way of looking at it. The bar graph on this slide shows the overall gains our district scored compared to the state when comparing the 2 years. St. Lucie Public Schools outpaced the state by 16 points across all tested areas. So in summary, once again, we've improved in all performance areas. So digging a little bit deeper, last year, grade 3 ELA proficiency was included for the first time in a separate cell. The first arrow visualizes the difference when comparing the proficiency from 23 to 24. St. Lucie Public Schools made a 7-point gain from a 42 to a 49. In ELA, a +4, in math, a +5, in science, a +5, and social studies, +3. So we can continue to make gains in middle school acceleration, college and career acceleration, and graduation rate, which are all part of the state accountability system. So from left to right, we have a 9-point gain in middle school acceleration, a 4-point gain in college and career acceleration, and a 1-point gain in graduation rate. So we're going to put a check next to goal 4. Now we're going to talk about goal 4, the 5-year strategic plan, which is his final goal. And it has a very specific timeline for completion. So on June 18th, there was a draft presentation to the board. Board members may now meet privately or email inquiries and comments to Dr. Prince before July 30th. August 13th will be the date the final draft goes to the board for final adoption on September the 10th. Now we can put a check next to goal 4, Dr. Prince. So of course, all of this cannot be done with the women and the men that are here with us tonight, our principals of our school, and it's really their dedication to our students and of course the goals that are set that led us to all of these successes this year. And moving forward, okay, looking ahead at next year, our superintendent has his 4 goals ready to go. So the superintendent has chosen these 4 very important goals, and he has made it very clear that his biggest priority is goal 1, the voter approval for renewal of the half-penny penny surtax. Goal 2, the continued improvement in reading and math across all grade levels. Goal 3, increased acceleration opportunities for all students. And then Goal 4, the board approval and implementation of Phase 1 of the Proximity Zone Initiative. And that's going to coincide with the opening of Legacy High School almost a year from now. And with that, Dr. Prince, that concludes our presentation.
Thank you. I just wanted to say one quick thing before we pivot to Tom Jones, the president of the Education Foundation, for a brief presentation. We did historically well on our testing, and in fact, across all areas, reading, math, science, social studies, middle school acceleration, high school acceleration, graduation rate, every single thing measured by the state, we improved, and in many areas improved significantly. You cannot improve in every single area without people in our school centers working incredibly hard. And I can't commend more our teachers and our paraprofessionals, the folks in the classrooms with the children, because teachers raise student achievement, and that can't happen also without the leadership of our principals. I am so fortunate and blessed to work with literally 42 outstanding principals that give their blood, sweat, and tears, and it is a 24/7 job. That emergencies happen all the time, and especially in some of our schools with the biggest challenges, we saw the most growth. So I want to commend the folks in our schools, I want to commend our teachers, and I'll save a couple of remarks later whenever I get to the superintendent's remarks. Our second presentation, though, is Mr. Tom Jones. It's
Madam
not...
Chair, Before he does that, I have an important question for Dr. Ocampo.
Yes.
If I could, it's something that I'd like to bring up that people have forgotten about.
Hang on, Tom. Dr.
Give me
Ocampo
a
has a
second.
question.
I've only got a couple more
That's Mr. Kelly.
months of doing this. Dr. Ocampo, you know, you get a hurricane, and the year later, everybody forgets about it. We had a hurricane for 2.5 years called non-traditional teaching because of a virus that we had. Dr. Mills was just talking about it. It might be coming back, right? And we had non-traditional teaching for 2.5 years because of COVID. I've heard people say that we're talking about moving ahead in the 4-year plan, and I'm talking to you. You're the doctor of education, and I'm sure you read things that I don't. But just from what I read and see on TV, the accumulation of how we're going to go forward in education. What happened for that 2.5 years, and I don't know if it was the whole 2.5 years that was non-traditional, what effect that would have on the next 5 years? Some educators say little effect in time. Others say that it may take 5 to 6 years to get back to normal because the kids that were in grammar school are going to have a ways to get out of school. Have you heard any insights or have any feelings about that? And am I correct in saying that it was not traditional for 2.5 years? Because that seems to be what people are saying.
Yeah, so if I think I'm hearing a question correctly, and I could speak for St. Lucie Public Schools, you know, over the last several years since COVID, there's been a number of funds that have come into our school district, and with those funds, we've done an amazing, you know, number of things with them, from additional personnel or summer school academy or after-school tutorial. And with those funds, we really, and you can see from our data that we're showing here, we were able to close those gaps in learning that accumulated over that time period. So I can say that we are back on track and projected to close those gaps over the coming years. And I'm confident in saying that based on our data.
Mr. Kelly, I'll piggyback on that a little bit. We had about 4,000 students attending a very robust summer program. Our ESSER dollars are spent. That's the last. We had 3 consecutive years of very strong summer schools. The question that you ask is, are we back yet? The answer to that question is no. The pandemic still has an impact. It stalled learning. The kids learn in person best. We know that. Many of our kids that were virtual struggled, and we're still not to pre-COVID levels statewide. But I do think we've come a long way in the last 2 years, and you just saw from the presentation we outpace the state when it comes to that comeback. So I think that's a tribute to the professionals that we have working in our school centers and the commitment that our principals and our staffs, from food service to bus drivers to our maintenance staff, that we're committed to the students of St. Lucie County Public Schools, and we're on our way back, but we're not quite there yet.
I didn't expect anybody to opine and give me that's what I was looking for, and thank you for your answer too, but as to how long it may take, that effect may take before we get back to complete normal, which I have no idea, but I just want to remind everybody what we went through
Yeah.
in the last 4 years, and it has an effect, and it's still there, and we have to overcome it. Thank you, and thank John, that's what I was looking for.
Thank you, Dr. Ocampo. You teed me up well, Dr. Ocampo. All right, Mr. Tom Jones. I won't make any, it's not unusual jokes.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Madam Chair, school board members, and Mr. Superintendent, it's my pleasure to give you an overview of our fiscal year 2023, which really has been a watershed year for the foundation. This year, or just last year rather, we raised $1.2 million, and that's a record. We impacted 30,000 students and 1,000 teachers. If you take a look at it by year, this is a graph that just shows the total revenue for the foundation year by year. Just noting that 2022 is net of the $2.9 million that we received from the county for the internet program. But we actually received a lot of grants last year, and we reached a record of $1.2 million. As you probably know, that we have an opportunity every year for the matching grant program. The state of Florida puts a pot of money on the table, and we have an allocation for that. Our allocation has been growing every year because the school district is growing. And last year, we just about reached $200,000, which was a record. In 2022, 23, and 24, we took all of the match opportunity. In 23, it was the first time. We're doing really well so far in the early part of 2024, 25, so we think we will reach another record. I just want to look at just share with you some of the programs, because what we're all about is working with the children and working with our teachers. Just to give you an example, Lakewood Park Elementary applied for a grant with Florida Power and Light to do a classroom makeover. Florida Power and Light has a policy that if there's a local ed foundation, that they would pass the money through the foundation and act as fiscal agent. So we were chosen as fiscal agent for this program. We were able to match the $25,000, so the program scope was a total of $50,000, and the money was spent to remake a science lab, a tech lab, and we bought smart boards, and we bought robots, and then we also funded a trip to NASA. And then Florida Power and Light wanted to do a reveal, and we called WPTV to come in, and we had a great event. Dr. Wild was there, and her staff, and it was just a wonderful celebration of that new classroom. And then Florida Power and Light had a generator contest. We had teams of students, and we had cardboard, copper wire, and wooden dowels, and they taught the children how to make a generator, and the contest was to make a generator that had the highest voltage. It was just a lot of fun. So that's just one project that we had funded. Also, every year, PNC Bank for the last 10 years has sponsored a program called, hold on a second here, get my notes. Called Read for the Record. And Read for the Record is a national program. So every year on a certain date, all of the pre-K students are given a book, and volunteers come in and we read to the students. And we had done that, and it was just a lot of fun watching students. And what's really nice is that after you read to them, you hand them a book. And it's probably, in many cases, the first book that a student has ever gotten to take home. We also are big on innovating learning. We're still big with the Play with Purpose program, which has brought toys back to our kindergartens and is helping with the pre-literacy skills. We put a lot of focus on funding technology, and we funded a lot of programs that did with robots. And we also held many events with the support of the school district. And Terrence O'Leary was a great partner, and his staff, along with Comcast. And we've signed up 400 households to receive free or reduced internet access. And this was a $2.9 million money that was granted to the school district, and then where the foundation acted as fiscal agent. And so that program is ongoing. The contract was renewed. So we have another event, a sign-up event right here in these chambers on August the 7th. And we also hosted literacy programs that brought parents in, because we wanted the parents to be part of teaching their children how to read. And we held workshops for that as well. And then also, we also celebrate success, and there was a lot to celebrate. This year, we funded the Night of the Stars, and we recognized the Teacher of the Year, and many other categories. We also held in the spring the Hall of Champions Luncheon, where we recognized Mr. Gent and Mr. Davis as folks that have helped the school district. And also, last year, the foundation nominated Dr. Prince to be the Star Superintendent of the Year at the annual Superintendent and Board Conference, and I want to offer my congratulations to Dr. Prince. So it was a very busy year for us. Probably can't see all of this, but we actually supported 24 programs. That was a lot of work for us with staff of 3, but it was a labor of love. And we couldn't do it without our sponsors. Okay, we had a record number of sponsors, and we're really thankful to our sponsors. So I just wanted to also mention that in 2024-25, which is a new school year, it's off with a great start. This afternoon, I was over at St. Lucie Medical Center, and they presented to the foundation a check for $60,000 to help with the CTE healthcare program, and that'll be a three-year program, and that's matchable funds for us. And so and also we received a check of $10,000 from ACL Homes to support the program that we have to change the traffic lights in the city of Port St. Lucie and bring in artificial intelligence. So I just want to thank the school board, your great partners. I want to thank the district staff. Dr. Prince is always there for us, and I want to thank the staff of the school district. So thank you very much.
You know, Tom, I just wanted to say, raising $600,000 plus to $1.2 million is just unbelievable, doubling the intake and the good that money is doing. I want to thank you and the foundation. I know it's such hard work for you, and you don't have a large team. It's not like you've got an army of people. Right. It's a couple of people, and just the great things that the foundation is accomplishing with our students and within our schools as well, with some of the things that the foundation provides. I wanted to thank you, and we appreciate the partnership, and I appreciate your friendship. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Prince. Can we do a little photo with the big check?
Sure, okay? Let's do a photo with the big check. We're going to do one photo.
I notice it says here you have sponsorships available too, huh? You have sponsorships?
As usual, our special orders of business were full of good news, and thanks for all that had a part in that. Before we move into our reports, as an elected official, it's always a joy to welcome another elected official into our chambers. And I'd like to extend a special welcome to State Representative Kaylee Tuck, who's with us tonight, not on state business, but on business of helping the school district. Kaylee, welcome to our boardroom. Please, anytime you'd like to come and have a tour or see what's all the good things going on in St. Lucie Public Schools, we would love to have you. Thank you for being here tonight. We will now move on to our regular reports, and I see Mr. Freeland is here for the ESOL report. Welcome to the podium. It's good to have you back with us for the second month.
Thanks. Good evening, Madam Chair. Good evening, school board members. Good evening, Superintendent Prince. I think it's interesting, the talks we've already had this evening, because this is the time of the year when we step back and reflect on the year before us, the year behind us, and evaluate things. I also think it's important to mention how appreciative I am of Dr. Prince's comments about teachers. Certainly principals are important in what Dr. Ocampo reported, absolutely. And we work with those principals and work very well with most of them, so they do a great job. But leaders set a tone, but they also assemble teams, and without the teachers and also the ESPs, the support staff, it would be a lot harder to get that work done. So thank you for those comments. In addition to that, I also want to mention the ESSER funds that were discussed. And I'm actually pleased to say that the union was part of a lot of those plans. Some of it was negotiation, whatever it took to get those funds spent in a way that was beneficial to our students and our communities. So I'm really pleased with that. So there's a couple of reflections, and with your indulgence, I'd like to share one or two more. Recently, I had a chance to speak with a state representative. I dreaded the meeting. Well, dreaded might be a little strong, but the meeting was of a concern to me because I didn't feel there was any common ground between the two of us. But I made the effort, and so did the other person. And lo and behold, while we disagree on a great many things, there are some things that we do think we can work on together. There's common ground. And then they do a second meeting, and we have a third meeting scheduled. And so hopefully we'll be able to do good things for the students and the staff and the community here in St. Lucie County together, even though we don't agree on everything. And I've discussed collaboration in front of the board many times, and the superintendent and his team have embraced that collaborative spirit. I appreciate the responsiveness and overall thoughtfulness of our superintendent, despite the fact sometimes we don't agree, or maybe especially when we don't agree. Disagreement isn't an opportunity to attack a person, despite the current tenor of this country, but an opportunity to dig down and seek a place of understanding. Things won't always be kumbaya. In fact, I don't want them to be. Checks and balances mean we won't always agree. But I do know they can always call the superintendent and say, "Now, John," and know that he will look for common ground and solutions because at the heart of it, we care about the people we serve. That's the example of a leader. And I challenge all of us in this room to lead from that place and not let our and not let our work together devolve into debating, chaos, and dysfunction as we go into this new year. Because I believe that is what certain groups want for us, dysfunction and chaos. And we have worked too hard to get where we are. We have too many opportunities in front of us to go down that road. So I'm looking forward to a new year coming up soon, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Freeland. CWA, I see you out there. Do you have a report? Well, we're glad you're here with us tonight and hope you're getting a chance to enjoy a little bit of your summer, a change of routine for you. Okay, we will then move to the adoption of our consent agenda. Mr. Superintendent, before we take your recommendation, do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
A second? Second. I have a motion and a second. Any conversation? Okay. Mr. Superintendent will receive your recommendation.
I recommend the board approve the consent agenda as submitted.
Board members, before we vote on that recommendation, are there any items?
Move to
that-
approve.
Well, are there any items to remove for separate discussion?
Yeah, well, I don't know if we need to remove it for a separate discussion, but I do have a conflict of interest with item 9.2, therefore I will need to refrain from the vote.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Mills, for bringing that to our attention. Board members, we will remove item 9.2, the collaborative agreement with Alpi Head Start, and vote on that separately. So, Mr. Superintendent, your recommendation, are you willing to have the two separate votes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So our first vote then will be on all items on the consent agenda with the exclusion of item 9.2. Board members, to have a motion?
I'll second that.
Thank you. A motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries 4-0. We will now vote on item 9.2. Board members, do I have a motion to approve item 9.2?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries 3-0. And the record will reflect that Dr. Mills recused herself with the conflict. Again, our informational reports are there for our leisure to go through. No action is required of those items. And we will now move, Mr. Superintendent, to your report.
A couple of things to report. Summer graduation will be at Fort Pierce Central High School. That's going to be at 8:30. I think it's July 18th. That is not on here. But my astute memory says it's July 18th, and people are literally giving me the thumbs up, so I'm correct. Our leadership kickoff, this is like a test, Ms. Martin. Our leadership kickoff, I'm inviting the board to, is July 25th. Yes, everybody's nodding. It's at 8 a.m., and that's going to be at Lincoln Park Academy. This is fun. This is fun. There's no dates, so I just am going off memory. Teacher Kickoff is a live event at CAST, and we are going to dazzle all the board members that are able to attend, and that is going to be at CAST on August 5th at 8:30 in the morning. And we will be sending an invitation to the board on that.
Mr. Superintendent, since you're having so much fun, would you define dazzle for us, please?
Dazzle, it is going to be a multimedia extravaganza, Mrs. Hawley, and we will be broadcasting live to our 5,000 employees across 40 campuses in the district, but we will have 6 or 7 schools live at CAST. So I'm looking forward to that event because we do have a celebratory message of our accomplishments last year and also an exciting kickoff for this year. And the start of school, thank you, Ms. Martin, the one date that I am provided is Monday, August 12th. So, and I'm just being facetious because it was funny when I was looking at this. Hurricane preparations, I just wanted to add something that the public doesn't necessarily know is we are required to staff our schools in an event of emergency with hurricanes. They have to be shelters. That responsibility falls on our public schools and our public school principals. It doesn't fall on private schools, nor does it fall on charter schools. It falls on our public schools. I wanted to thank our principals and their admin teams. We're already preparing. If that happens, we had one of the earliest hurricanes hit Texas earlier. We're expecting a very busy hurricane season, but I want to promise the public that we're ready to go should that eventuality occur locally. So I want to thank our principals and your staffs because we're already having those conversations. Summer school ends tomorrow. We had approximately 3,500 students attending summer school. We had a very robust summer school. And once again, to your point, Mr. Kelly, one of the biggest challenges that we've had really is also teacher burnout because we've had so many of our teachers working over the summer. I'm going to encourage them in the literally 2 weeks that they have, get some time away and try to decompress and take some time for yourself because literally on August 5th, we're back at it all over again.
The 4,000 kids that you were talking about, was that regular summer school? Was that a special program?
No, that's regular summer school, but it's far more robust than a normal summer school that we would normally have in a normal year. I also had some introductions of some promotions, and when I call your name, I'd like you to stand, and I want to congratulate you. I pride us on our ability to hire quality, outstanding candidates from inside our system and outside our system, and that's a real tribute to the board and the leadership of the board and the consistency of leadership that the board provides, because we are a destination district. And when I call your name, please stand. These are our new assistant principals. Danielle Steele is going to be going to Weatherby. Alma Mosley Ware, Dan McCarty. Dustin Wood, St. Lucie West Centennial. And Melody Nieves, Palm Point K-8. And we do have a new principal appointment. John Keeler is going to Floresta, but John is out of town this week. So we will bring John when he is in town. And lastly, I want to introduce our new Executive Director of School Renewal. We brought Diane Lienenbach in to be our Director of School Renewal, and I can't tell you what an amazing job she did immediately hitting the ground running, and she did such an accomplished job that she just got a promotion to an Executive Director of School Renewal, Diane Lienenbach.
Thank you. Madam Chair, esteemed board members, Superintendent Prince. Dr. Prince, thank you for this wonderful opportunity to expand my role serving our district. It truly is, I'm going to do it again, it truly is a destination district. I'm thankful to my husband, Gary, and my kids. I really am happy, like these are happy tears, who have supported me despite their personal hardships in relocation. But success does not exist in isolation. I'm honored to continue working with our schools and school leaders who have an equally strong commitment to improvement. I want to thank Dr. Summer, Mrs. Woolard, Office of Teaching and Learning, principals, their school teams, my IPs, and anybody else that I can't mention at this time, for your support and collaboration as I entered on the ground running, like full steam ahead. Thank you for not letting me hit walls and providing a nurturing environment where we could all flourish, and I think our results show through that. I'm eager to expand my service to our district and meet the needs of our community through our students as a treasure hunter. And it's both an honor and I'm humbled to serve now as executive director.
Thank you, Diane, and I want to say thank you. You know, you've been a real collaborator. You've been an integral part of our team last year, and I think the biggest spirit that we have here in St. Lucie County Public Schools is collaboration and teamwork, and you jumped right in and were a great teammate. So welcome to your new position, and I promise I will not make you cry on a daily basis.
Thank you. I'll try not to.
So thank you, and I'm going to close with this. To that point, you know, we had a lot of success last year, and success is not born in isolation. It's born through teamwork, collaboration, and in a spirit of giving. I want to thank my team. What an amazing job. Great leaders that I have in cabinet, senior leadership. I want to thank the principals. Many of our principals are here, and some of your team members, your assistant principals, the teachers, food service, bus drivers, paraprofessionals, clerks, everybody in our system on the operational side, our maintenance, IT, you know, you name it. I mean, it takes a village, but we just have something special here in St. Lucie County, and I would be remiss, and I know that I will not be spoken to if I do not thank the most important people in my life, which is my family that are here, my lovely wife, Heather Prince. I did marry up. Raise your hands so everybody can see you. Yes. And then my daughter, Meredith, thank you for both being here and also being, bearing the brunt of sacrifice sometimes when I can't be around the house and be the dad that I try to be all the time. So with that being said, Chairwoman Hawley, It was a great year, and now it's off to 24-25. Thank you.
Mr. Superintendent, before we move away from your reports, would you like approval of your goals for the 24-25 school year?
Yes, ma'am, you do have them as submitted and as presented by Dr. Ocampo.
Thank you. Board members, we have the recommendation to move forward with the superintendent goals for 24-25. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Dr. Mills and Mr. Ingersoll, thank you. Any conversation? Other than to say we appreciate the opportunities that you've provided to us to go through them in depth and to bring them forward tonight so that we can start the school year off with everybody knowing what our goals are. They are industrious and achievable, and I have complete faith in everyone in this room and watching on TV or listening that through your skilled efforts, the goals will be achieved. So thank you in advance. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries 4-0. Mr. Attorney, do you have a report for us this evening?
No report.
Thank you. Again, we appreciate you being here. We will move then to our school board member reports. We do have an action item on our agenda tonight, board members, to take a vote on the superintendent's overall performance for this past year. Typically, we have voted either put a motion on for either satisfactory or unsatisfactory, and then our conversation has evolved from there. Do I have a motion?
Motion for satisfactory.
Motion for superintendent to receive a satisfactory overall performance, realizing, of course, that there's only two options, okay? It's either satisfactory or unsatisfactory. In my opinion, is well beyond satisfactory. The motion is on the floor. We have a second. Any conversation from other board members? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries 4-0.
And he did marry up. You married way up.
Oh, before we move away from this action item, Mr. Superintendent, Heather, would you like to add another one that he won't embarrass you anymore? No. Mr. Superintendent, I just want to say that your comments earlier were so spot on, because what the five of us do as a board means nothing compared to what the staff, the St. Lucie Public School family does. The teachers, the administrators, the custodial, the food service, the bus drivers, everyone that has a part in the almost 50,000 children that we serve every day. Each of you has a part in that. And without your gifts and graces, we would not be where we are today. So, and that is under your leadership, Mr. Superintendent, and we are grateful for that. The gifts and graces that you bring are unmatched, and we're very happy that you're our superintendent. We will now move to board member reports. Mr. Kelly, we'll begin with you.
Yes, thank you for allowing me the time for the here to remind you event here. I'm going to remind you again, because what we went through with that COVID, and it was non-traditional teaching, that's my opinion, but the staff that you already talked about, Madam Chairman, the staff that we have here in St. Lucie is just, I can't, I'm beyond what to say how great they were, and being my first time on a school board like this, and it takes a couple of years to really realize what you have here. But the leadership, and I'm talking about you guys too, those 2.5 years or so, and it happened immediately when I got elected. You guys were already in it. I think schools were closed down for 10 or 12 weeks, John, before I got elected, right, Dr. Mills? And they were actually closed down. So we went through a lot, and to come back, to make this comeback that we're doing is putting a lot on everybody out here, all our teachers and staff, and I'm amazed at how wonderful they are. And I've said this before, and people forget, education is the foundation of our country. It's the foundation of everything, and our children are our most important asset, and they have to be looked at. And the reason I'm saying this is because I want the school board to be thanked for this, not the school board, but the whole system to be thanked. And the public has an opportunity, and I know I'm only speaking to people who are watching this in educational, you've all got to get out there and let them know. We have a great school system. We're the best, and I want to stay that way. And the public has an opportunity. Yes, John, I'm going to opine, have an opportunity to tell us about that in November. And you may hear about this once or twice before. We have a great thing going here, and I hope the public, come November, and I know, so you know what I'm talking about, will vote the right way to keep us number one and stay that way. And we do have a great staff, and you all stay here. And people that are joining us, you're joining a great school district, the best. You absolutely are. I told you that, and I was right, wasn't I? All right. Thanks for letting me opine again. You know I'm right.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Mr. Ingersoll?
Yes, ma'am. Jack, you're 100% right. But as I also want to remind the community, it's just not about academic achievements, it's about the whole child. And it's the social part of the child that will be lacking for the next few years too. And that's key as we start looking into a lot of the programs that we're still doing, and then as we're looking to still fund, that's crucial to keep that in mind as board members, as community members that give through Children's Services Council and everything else, through commissioners and mental health. So it's a community effort, and I don't want people to think, oh, we're back and we're totally 100%. Academically, we are, but there's still part of the child that is still missing. So that was one key. The other thing is it's good to see Mr. Freeland here. I thank you for being here. And again, the invitation for me to meet with you is always open, as long as we meet with teachers too. And principals, that has always been my relationship with him within the last 2 years, is that when I meet with the union, I'm just not going to meet with the supervisors, or I want to meet at a school with teachers so that when people see us meeting, they're seeing us meeting together. So I just want to extend that hand in front of the community that is still there. And also, you talked about negotiations and making sure that it doesn't get chaotic. And we want to, as a team here and as a organization, we want to see this go peacefully, just like you said. But when negotiations are taking place, I want to make sure they stay within the side of the negotiation parameters. And that is one of the things that I talked about when I was running for re-election a while ago is, when we get new school board members, we need to figure out how that training exists between the school district, the school board members, and also your leadership too. And if you remember in that meeting, that's one of the things that I want to point out to. So when we start looking at new things and new ways of negotiating, not new ways or old ways, and we get new members on board, that's one of the key things that we need to do, is make sure that we're all trained on the same page. And that's basically it. Again, Dr. Prince, thank you so much for choosing St. Lucie County. Thank you for the teachers, all the support staff. It was definitely a good year. We saw the effort that you put into it, the extra hours, and we couldn't be prouder, not only as school board members, but as a community, for the efforts that you all participated in. It's not just a one-person thing. It is definitely a group effort, and we were, from all of us, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Ingersoll. Dr. Mills?
And we don't want to leave out the parents as well. Parents, thank you for your part that you play in the education of your child. We talk about academics. We've been very successful each year. For the past 8 years, I believe, we have increased and have done so much better. Even though we did go through COVID, we were able to maintain and come back. And that is all the credit to the whole village. I think I heard Dr. Prince mention we're a village. And it's every last one of us that make that difference, from the parent to the teacher to the support staff, whatever you may be doing, the bus drivers, all of us, from the time that child gets on that bus to the time they go home, and then the after-school programs. I have an after-school program, so I can really relate with that group. And one thing you said, Mr. Ingersoll, it's important to educate that whole child, and all of us will do it together. The after-school programs, we have to do our part as well, and we are doing our part as well. And so that has brought a lot of success to our community because we're all working together as one. And we have a great leader here in St. Lucie County Public Schools. Dr. Prince, you have done a tremendous job. And I do appreciate your work, and if we have to have the leader, and for the rest of us to do well. So we thank God for St. Lucie County Public Schools and for the grace that he's had on us as a community. I have heard great things from so many people in the community about our different principals and how well you are leading your schools. I'm talking about parents and community advocates and different people out there that I meet every day and I see. You're doing a tremendous job. They come back and they tell me. And people are so happy about Westwood. I mean, so happy. They are rejoicing. And so we all rejoice with you and the principal there and the great work that you're doing. I know that every day is not easy. I don't know how you do it. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Especially in this day and time with our students. I mean, just the character building. When you say social skills, we're talking the character building and just what students need to have to be successful in that area is tremendous. And so for you to be able to do what you do and for us to be as successful as we are, I'm talking to the principals now, I'm talking to the teachers, the educators. It is phenomenal what you do. We appreciate, we understand how challenging it is. And we thank you for your service. We thank you for each and every one of you that give. And you give so that we can be successful. Our human resource department. I mean, you know, I'm looking at our executive director back there. I hear people come back to me as a board member, and they talk about our different departments and what we are doing. And although everybody doesn't have the same story, the majority of them do. And they are thankful that they are treated as human beings and respect, and that you are there for them and you don't think you're higher than the average person. So we thank you for that. Education Foundation, I serve on that board. I see them firsthand as well. Mr. Jones, Tom Jones, and that board is doing a tremendous job in helping us be that village. And that's why we're being so successful. It's all of us. It's our community, our parents, and our school district, and we thank everybody at the several different places. I had the privilege to go to the Highwaysmen. They had their museum groundbreaking ceremony today, and it was a full house, standing room only. By the time I got there, I had to squeeze through the people, but we did represent as a board for that breaking ceremony. And so they are very excited about what is to come. I'm excited about the history. I believe that every culture should be teaching their history. And so I'm excited about what I see in that area. I'm looking forward. I'm a visionary. I can see the children, our school children, going to that museum and learning all about the Highwaysmen. And if you haven't gotten your painting, I've gotten 2 paintings and have a promise today just by being there that someone's going to give me a gift. One of the Highwaysmen, I believe his name is Al Black. I don't know if anybody know him, but he said he was going to give me one of his paintings as a gift. And I also have a painting up at my office in the hallway from one that had passed. She was one of the few females that they had as a Highwaysman. And I was told that painting, I'm taking that painting home with me. I was told that painting we have up there is worth over $35,000 right now. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but it was one of the Highwaysmen who said it. But I'm taking that home, so when it disappears, y'all know I'm the one that took it.
We have cameras everywhere up there, just throwing it out there.
Thank you, and y'all have a great summer. It's
Dr. Mills, now that you've put it out there for the universe,
taking it tonight.
don't forget to fill out your gift form as an elected official.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'll pay something. I'll pay a little something. All right.
Well, if you take it home with you, you're going to pay a lot. Or
All right,
fill
y'all
out your
take
gift
care.
form.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Ms. Lincoln, do we have any unscheduled speakers before us? No other business before us then. Thank you again for being here. It was a good meeting. We appreciate all the accolades. And again, thank you
One more
genuinely for what you do every day.
One more accolade, because I would be remiss, and we all would be, I know this is the last meeting, our new school year starting, so, and it was good, everybody was in agreement, but there was a guy here that I didn't mention, that we got through this with the staff and the parents, and we thanked everybody and how wonderful they are, but there was a guy here that helped lead us through this. His name was Wayne Gent, and he did a great job, and he was the guy that got us through this. When I came through, he was in the middle of it, and we wouldn't have that satisfactory, or above satisfactory, you said, the superintendent, if it wasn't for Wayne Gent. He hired you, didn't he? Yes, or the board did.
Mr. Kelly, I'm sure that Mr. Jen is watching this right now, and I'm going to get a text or a call as soon as I leave the dais today.
I don't want to get in trouble.
Well done.
All right, everyone. Have a great rest of your evening and rest of your week, and we are adjourned.